Mm, I kind of want to sing to it. Hi, people. Today, with Cordelh, we have a live reading of our own poems.
Hello, everybody. I'm here with Kara, having a good time. Time of my life, morning, good mood,
Christmassy.
coffee, and cigarettes.
Just coffee. Oh,
Are we banning cigarettes?
no,
Okay,
no.
good, because I already have a teacher that told me not to talk about cigarette in class.
Like in Zoom class?
No, in class he told me that, what was it? He told me that I was promoting the wrong kind of stuff. And I told him that in a world where people promote army, soldier, war, and stuff like that, promoting cigarettes was the least of all the wrongs.
I was thinking, what if you looked really unhappy while smoking, but it's still promoting it?
Oh yeah, that's a good point, because I may be a smoker, but I'm not convinced I always enjoy smoking.
Yeah, it's like just smoke it, but don't enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean,
It's horrible. It's the worst cigarette
well,
ever.
you know when something is like hammering your head with a blunt thing and it hurts, and then you're like, you know what, I'm just gonna pinch myself really hard so it doesn't feel like it hurts.
Oh,
Pinch. Like,
I know that.
yeah.
It's
Okay.
like the thing you do to wake up.
Exactly. Please wake the fuck up.
You have that dream as like, oh, it's on your side.
No, it's not a dream.
Ah, like,
I thought I would wake up, but it's not a dream.
oh,
Boy, oh boy, oh boy.
yeah. Okay, so I have a little bit more poems. I can start while you drink. Cheers.
Chin.
Ah, so many screens, dude. Okay, I'm
How do I
starting
open?
with.
Can I watch us? Do I need to mute us when I watch us?
You need to mute us on YouTube because you hear us here. Otherwise, so Zoom works. Zoom live streams with a delay. It's
Really?
like 60 seconds delay or something.
But I have a headset. You shouldn't be able to hear me. Oh,
Dude.
I have battery. Oh, we are online. Oh, wow. And I'm on the wrong side. Oh,
My
that's
foot
cool.
was
I
just
like it. I like it.
there.
I
I
like it.
have to watch for that.
Yeah, I can give us a like.
I was
Boom.
like, I'm a European, it's fine.
I'm
Yeah, you totally
discovering.
should. I
Okay.
really like the colors. I don't know why Zoom decided to keep you on the other side. It's like the first time, but at least I know how when I look at you, which side you look at. So you face away from the kids. That's how you look at me, and I look at there you are. See? There. Oh wait, what if I do that? Will something change? Hold on, I don't know.
Pretty sure you're good. I don't know.
Okay, just playing around. Okay, would you like to start with the reading?
Sure. And yes, you do turn on the right side, just so you turn. So I wrote a little poem. Let's see, which one am I going to read? Yeah, I'll read this one. So this is an ode to goodness, because it is the season of happy, joyful. What's his name? What's his name? You know, the
Jesus?
red guy with
Oh, Santa.
there you go.
Дедушка Мороз. Yeah.
It is Santa. Yeah, that guy. It is that guy's holiday. Can you imagine that the only time he's got a holiday, he actually got to work. Like, Everybody in the world is on holiday, but he's gotta work.
Yeah.
I should write a poem about that. Poor little Santa. He doesn't get dental care and insurance, but has to work when nobody does.
Yeah, he totally exists.
Okay, so to goodness. Can you guys hear me, by the way? Yeah, good. Okay. If the past doesn't exist anymore, and the hereafter hasn't come to be yet, the present will be everything therefore, and everything could always be reset. Let's see. It matters not to follow everyone, nor to compete to beat everyone else. It matters not that one has lost or won. All that matters is to help those in distress. There is no being better or normal, nor such thing as always acting formal. There is only helping waited by us. Even if anyone else defies us, there isn't apologies or thankfulness that could replace fairer acts towards others. When all around there is no more kindness, help others by doing for them wonders. Wonders will always be what is needed. It won't be what is vainly desired. It will be simple acts that once seeded will grow into what's really required. Yet one has to do and not just observe, or even worse, to simply ignore it. Even then, praising should not be deserved, as no one should ever be a misfit. It isn't that there are no heroics, but no one should ever be in distress. I would rather be completely stoic and have all receiving human progress.
I love it with the guitar, actually. It's excellent. That was a really good reading, Cordelh.
No, it was an okay reading. It was good because you were there.
Thank you. Thank you. You know, it's actually better with audience always. So, like spectators. I'm very grateful spectator.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I have light on my fingers.
Oh, we got a third like. Look at that.
Ooh, thank you, whoever is watching us. Yeah, guys, if you have poems to read, DM me. I will add you at the end of this, and you can present your poetry as well.
Hello, Philip Nickerson. Nice to meet you. And glad you enjoyed the poem.
Oh, Philip, thank you. Hi. So,
I'm gonna mute myself while you read. Okay, I know how to do that.
Unless you want to play me some of your guitar.
Yeah, sure. I'll play for you some music. You don't mind reading while I play? That's what you mean?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you, Philip. Thank you. So, spreading Christmas joy. I will read to my mom. A poem that I wrote for my mom.
I'm not sure my guitar is tuned though, but I don't think it
Sounds
matters.
awesome. Sounds like it's on the street in Brussels. I wrote it 2 years ago. My beautiful fairy mother, you are the first person I loved. You taught me to befriend monsters, that everyone has an inner light. You taught me that life is hard. Some princesses end up unhappy. I have to give love to be loved. Light up the darkness to be happy. Thank you for being my teacher. I followed all the advices you gave. Even if I don't call you often, I will always love you for that.
Do you think I was too loud? Because that's what I'm afraid when you're reading poems, that my music may be louder than your voice. I don't know how you can check that.
I don't know. Philip, what did you think? Maybe Philip really.
Because I can... It's a bit...
Philip, was the music too loud? I don't know. I don't watch the stream, but I actually like hearing and reading poetry with music is really chill.
Listening to your music while I'm working at a theater. Music is not too loud. Oh, okay,
Oh,
that's cool. Peace and
thank you,
love.
man. Thank you.
So
yeah.
That was an awesome poem. You wrote it for your mom?
Yes, I wrote it for my mom, and it also has a version in Russian.
Did you read it to your mom already?
Oh, many times.
Did she like it?
Well, she criticized the Russian translation, and she said she will do a better one, but she did it instead for another poem.
I'm absolutely not surprised. In a good way, you know. It's your mom. Like, of course she wants to push you forward.
Well, actually, my mom is much better poet than I am. She wrote so many poems, and like.
Well, she's got 20 years more experience than you do.
Yeah.
You know, in 20 years, you have to compare yourself.
Thank you, Philip. So, Philip, I don't know how to display it with Zoom and the messages, but it's super chill. I hope
I can see them here. I mean,
oh.
I have YouTube opened just to see the little messages and stuff. Like, well, I can say hello to anybody that's watching and saying hello.
Yeah, and guys, if you want to join and read, let me know or DM me somewhere. I will send you the link. I mean, I don't want to post it because, like last time I posted the link, there were also some random people joining in, and I was like, I need to edit this.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah. I think you should read your Russian translation.
Okay.
Yeah.
My Russian translation sponsored by Google Translate.
Heck yeah, rock and roll for Google Translate. Google Translate, always there for you. I don't know. Wait, I'll take the guitar and play a little tune to you.
I think I should also translate it to Ukrainian. Ukrainian is a beautiful language.
Oh, you should. Please
like,
do. If you have it in Ukrainian, please do.
I did not do the translation yet. It's just like it's like I can read it in Polish or Ukrainian or Russian. Those are the three languages that are dear to me. All of
Do you
them.
want to read it in Ukrainian?
I will need to do translation first, but let me start with Russian. Моя прекрасная фея, мама, первая моя любовь. Ты научила меня дружить с монстрами и видеть свет в каждом. Ты показала мне, что жизнь тяжела. Не все принцессы счастливы. Я должна любить, чтобы быть любимой. Осветить тьму, чтобы быть счастливой. Спасибо, что ты мой учитель. Я послушалась всех твоих советов. Прости, что я не звоню часто. Я всегда буду любить тебя за это. That's it. Hope the internet will be back there and my mom will hear it.
I'm sure she will.
Yeah, shout out Elon. It's like, thank you for Starlink. Actually, internet worked pretty well at the first half a year of work.
I really like how it sounds, actually. It's really nice. And Russian,
Thank
it
you.
sounds really nice.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of a nice, smart question, but my brain is frozen. I'm sorry, guys. Yes, my question was, did you write it originally in Russian or did you write it originally in English?
I wrote it in English for do you remember, like, we had on Pindar Poet Society competitions where we would announce themes for poets to present their poetry, and like we had it every Thursday, I think. And then one Thursday it was the themes were mother, phone booth, and the one which I really liked, Hell Doesn't Get to Have Me, where I wrote 2 poems actually for Hell Doesn't Get to Have Me. Actually, I really liked the one you wrote for Hell.
Yeah, I have to find it. You know what? I keep wondering if I should keep the original sound for musician on or off. Because I keep turning it on and off, but like for the last poem, I forgot to turn it on, so I don't know how it sounded like.
It sounded really good, actually. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna. Well, I don't think I make too much noise, so I'm just gonna keep it on. It's probably gonna like hear every weird noise I do. The language does sing itself. I agree. I totally agree. That's poetry. Poetry is fucking music. It's, well, music without the tempo, I guess, but, well, actually, with the tempo, whatever. It's music. It's meaningless. I love it. It is because it is without meaning that it has so much meaning for so many people. Yeah, that's what I like to say about poetry.
When the meaning is not defined, we create the meaning ourselves.
Exactly.
Making us creators of meaning.
Yes, exactly. It actually empowers the reader, because as a reader, you understand what it means to you. You know. Yeah, I like it a lot. Okay, so I guess that would be my turn to read a poem. I don't know, should I read something in English or should I read something in French and then in English?
Anything you like. It's like...
Anything I like. Well, I'll read this one. Okay, just give me 2 seconds because I need to like recover a little bit. Get my guitar. It would be awesome if I could just tune this thing. I don't know where I left my tuner. Should have done it before the stream. Okay, let's give it a shot. Okay. I feel like my hand is rusty. Gosh, the robot doesn't know how to work anymore. As the incendiary tongues reaches me, burning flames turns all my past into ashes. Sparking from a hellish hole as flashes, it lives on devouring all memory. Soon the earth's fury is smoldering smoke and the burning, and the fumes are so warm it burns it all. It turns my eyesight grey until I choke. My breath strangled by lack of air, I fall as slowly as I lose all cognizance. I see turn to ashes all providence, torching all, fire takes life of its own, and soon it flourishes and is all grown. It licks my skin, burns my hair, turns me blind, goes to my soul, till there's nothing to find. It leaves nothing but ruins and rubbles bright, till all that's left is fire in my sight. Reminding me one last time of it all. The combustion grows all so very tall that even laying down, I lose my ground. Soon with no air, there's not even a sound. My home and my mind become a furnace, and that ardent heat replaces my heart, as if myself of this house was the heart, from which those flames came for my last embrace.
It's a good reading. Intense poem, but I advise to turn off the original sound. It made too much.
Ooh, that's good to know. There you go. That's really...
Oh, that's better.
Sorry.
It was like, but you know, for the poem about fire, it's just like, I totally see it's appropriate for me to read Hell now.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you need some fire for Christmas.
Exactly. I mean, not that kind of fire.
Not that kind of fire, but a happy fire.
Yeah.
Candle fire.
Happy fire. Yeah. So, Hell doesn't get to have me. Also, from 2 years ago.
Do you mind if I take a little break from...
Don't play. Yeah, that's like...
From getting a little...
Rest. Okay. Hell doesn't get to have me. I hear it loud outside my bedroom. I see it reason like a refaced giant. Hell doesn't get to have me. I will not obey. I will stay defiant. Years went by, but I still remember that hell does not get to have me. I shine light that melts all shadows. I am who I am and was meant to be. That's it. It's a very short poem. It has another part to it. You totally muted, dude.
Gosh. I need a red button. No, I was saying it's a beautiful poem. Actually, this one is really, really good. I personally give you a little tip while we're here to read slightly slower, because this one in itself is actually an intense poem. So you want it to like really project the intensity. Actually, that's an advice I could follow myself. And the second you spoke directly after reading the poem, you need to give us 2 seconds. Like even I do that mistake, actually, I'm pretty sure, to not give the auditor 2 seconds to absorb the poem.
Let me
I
try
will
the
ask you to
second
read it
poem.
again, actually.
Okay, I will read it again, but I want to read a little bit, but with intensity, a 4-liner on the same theme.
Go for it.
Hell does not get to have me. Today, tomorrow, never. Because I'm Batman, the Dark Knight, the Evil Slayer.
Yeah, excellent. I loved it. I loved it. It was a little bit William Shatner-esque, but I loved it.
When I met, there is this BuzzFeed tests, what character you are from different movies.
And you're William Shatner.
I mean, from Star Trek, I'm Captain Kirk by Shatner.
That's a good one. It's a good one. William.
I remember when you made it, you were Spock.
Well, it's not even surprising. Yeah, I mean, live long and prosper. Oh gosh. Would you like to read a second, or should we swap and I read?
No,
one?
you read now. I read. I can replay afterwards, and I can make it slower.
Yes, actually, I think one reading by poem is good. But it's good tips for the next one, for the future, and even for myself, because I need to remind myself those words. Sometimes I forget them.
No, you taught me a lot about poetry. Okay. Just like my mom.
Life is a good teacher for poetry. Which one should I read? Do we have a lot of time in this thing, or are we in a hurry?
I paid for it. Like we can have as much time as you have.
How long have we been here? Just to have a general idea, because I like to know this kind of stuff.
40 minutes.
Oh wow, 40 minutes of reading poetry. Who would have said it? And saying silliness. Okay, so yeah, I'll give a little introduction about this poem. I wrote this poem in 2017. So that's like 5 years ago. Wow, not even 5 years ago. Not yet 5 years. Yes, I can tell. Yeah. I'm sorry. Just 2 seconds. Talk.
Okay, I guess I will read the poem. Oh no.
No, you're good. I'm just gonna mute my phone. I'm sure I'm just gonna turn it off.
A man for live streams.
Sorry, guys. I usually turn off my stuff when I go to class or do anything serious. But I didn't have much time to wake up this morning. So, yeah, I wrote this poem in 2017, and it was, yes, on the day of my birthday. So this is a birthday poem, but I imagine it can be taken in many different ways. Time unravels as a burning candle. As my eyes are shut, the moment passes, reminding me of full hourglasses, when grains of sand were easy to handle. In the darkness, it lights the path ahead, taking me further than I could have been led. I open my eyes, and it's halfway through. A song broke the silence as my breath blew. The older I get, the more candles burn. For each of them, I look into the past, to days in which everything was to yearn. The world was a playground and very vast, and with each grains of sand comes a memory. Soon I myself am the piling sand, and the memory becomes reverie. Light as the lifeline from my palm's hand soon vanishes, and the songs slowly cease, leaving me a strange sensation of peace.
Yeah,
That's it.
it's
Yeah.
a deep poem.
Yeah, it's about the passage of time, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a good poem.
It's an excellent poem.
I wonder how it would sound like with somebody that sounds happy and joyful, you know, like time unravels as a burning candle, as my eyes are shut, the moment passes, you know, something like that. You think it will sound neurotic or it would be okay?
I think this is like comparison. Sting has the song "Every move you make, every breath you take," like so. But because it's Sting, it's not taken as a creepy song. If a guy with a speaker, like like Harry Met Sally, would be standing outside a girl's window and singing that song, she would call the police.
Yeah, definitely, specifically in our time of age.
Always depends on the context. Yeah.
It does. No, it's your turn to read a poem. And you know what? Because I feel my fingers are rested, I play some music.
Yeah, I remember sometimes by the end of our poetry sessions, you showed fingers and like your hands were bleeding. Like sometimes you play and I could feel how strings hurt your fingers. I kind of can feel it in the sound, and it's like yeah, it's more intense, let's say. So don't hurt yourself, man. That poem is called Reflection. Dark path has led him to a desert. No sand in there, but bones and mud. He only knew the entropy of pleasure. Dry lips still miss the taste of blood. Reflection in a swamp has stopped him. Is that a man or some unholy beast? Long time ago, I was divine by nature. I dreamt of being loved at least. What led me to the path I follow? Is there a way for me to start again? The muddy road has been swallowed. The path ahead, not love, just pain. He looked at that reflection for a while, then at the sky to speak with hidden sun. Come out, sun. I need you to come out. Please show new way, because I'm done. The sun came through with healing power. All mud was taken by the eastern wind. The path of light showed its first flowers. He is walking it with growing light within.
You were done, right? Good.
Oh, I'm so happy you played music for that one.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Glad you liked it.
Thank
Oh, okay. I guess it's my turn.
you.
Nice. But tell us a little bit about this poem. Come on.
Okay. So I wrote it 1.5 years ago. It was New Year's poem. It's not New Year's. Okay, let me fact check it.
It doesn't matter.
Okay, I wrote it on the 6th of December, 2020. So
It's
2
good.
years ago.
Yeah. Just 2 years ago.
Yeah.
It's a good poem.
It's about that kind of realization that you can't continue like that and you have to change something about your life. But you cannot find it within you, so you ask outwards. And I think the sun is a representation of higher power or God. Like he is asking for guidance, show new way and show the path. It's so winter is generally very depressive time for people because of there is no sun. And so it makes sense that I would write a poem asking for sunlight in winter.
You know what's funny?
Mm.
Is I think winter is depressing because of the society in which we live. Because if you really think about it, 400 or 500 years ago, or 1,000 years, let's say, let's even go further than that. Let's go to dawn of civilization, when there was just a bunch of us in little huts in the middle of Europe, and we were pretending to be civilized because we used rocks as tools and managed to make some iron somehow. I think actually winter in those days must have been amazingly beautiful. Dangerous as fuck. Like, sorry for the bad word, I didn't mean it. It slipped my tongue. But, you know, like, dangerous as hell. But probably you could see the Milky Way, all the stars in the sky. There probably would be, like, when the full moon was full in winter, you probably would get those things, the visual effect called the winter halo, or the it's gonna name sun halo and moon halo. Those things are beautiful. I mean, I don't know if you've ever seen pictures of them, but if you haven't, you should totally Google them. And then I bet on top of that there would have been like animal noises and different than from the summer, you know, not like little birds singing, but more like howlings and, you know, like weird stuff, like winter sounds. I think winter must have been amazing, but like 20,000 years ago. Nowadays, we spend winter boxed in apartments, and then, you know, we buy a plastic tree, pretend that it's sacred somehow, but we don't even remember why, because basically we haven't went to the forest in 2 years and stuff like that, you know. So yeah, it makes it weird. Plus, on top of that, we participate to the society of consummation, which I don't mean to point out during this season, but let's be honest, we all went and bought our gifts. Nobody just made their gift, you know. It's pretty unique when people do that. So yeah, I mean, this
Remember
whole
the
thing
gift
is
for your birthday once?
yes, I do. That you mean the Mars thing?
No, I had several gifts.
Because
Like
the
we
Mars
know
thing
each other
is
for like 3 years, and so have been around some of your birthdays.
mm,
So there was a gift, a party with a lot of people. It's one gift. The other gift is like to fly to the Mars together in 5 years, which is actually it's also true.
mm.
And yeah, the collection of memories,
Oh yeah.
the friendship thing.
Mhm.
It's really those are the most valuable kind of gifts. It's symbolic gifts. Let's say they show appreciation,
Yes.
time together. It's really
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, but you're particularly good at making gifts, I have to admit. Yeah. Yeah, you're particularly good. I've noticed that.
Mhm.
Like you've noticed I enjoy, for example, astronomy,
Mhm.
and you gave me something that was in that team, which is actually really good quality, because you know a lot of people have a tendency to give other people what they would get for themselves, and
Mhm.
it's not always the better instinct, because we all have different wants and desire.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, good instinct.
It's like I'm a
Winter is
servant of others, so I try to keep that idea. I try to know what other people would like, and then as much as I can, because I'm not all powerful.
no, of course, nobody is you. Nobody expects anybody to be. I think. I
Mm.
hope so, at least. You know. But there we entering into philosophical questions. Let's just read poetry.
Yeah.
So this is a poem I wrote recently. I think I will first read the translation, and then I'll read my version in French, because originally it's written in French. And I imagine most people want to first know what it means before actually hearing the poem. Let's see, how do we do this? Yes. So this one is one of my latest. If I can stay sane when everyone loses their mind around me. Okay, perhaps I should introduce some concept on it. So this poem is highly inspired of the poem If from Rudyard Kipling. The message is different. In French also the rhythmic and yeah, the general concept doesn't exist. So I basically took that idea, transformed it into my own thingy, and communicated it in French. So in English it may sound a little familiar if anybody's familiar with Rudyard Kipling poem If. So if I can stay sane when everyone loses their mind around me, if I can trust myself misunderstood by all the people who doubt me, but I can take into account their doubts without ever sharing my own fears, and I can move forward despite my routes, exhausted, hungry, and sweaty, while others flee to false victories. And that without complaints, I choose a road, dark, never taken, but obligatory. And yet I show no doubt. If I can wait without losing patience when I am lied to and I know it, and despite everything, keep my foresight for those who would put me on trial without giving in or becoming threatening. If I have to face hatred, but manage not to spill blood, and that even in sorrow I avoid hatred. If I can dream without dreaming, the only if I can dream without making my dreams the only reason for my existence, and I can think without having to take and I can think without having to take out my sword, and without losing my dreams, take distance of those who would crucify me by difference. If I can face glories or defeat in the same way, without impertinence, and in the quiet keep my intimacy secret. If I can hear my truths returned in if I can hear my truths turned into insults and mockery, and manage to keep my sincerity without falling into drunkenness, if I can see everything I like and what I gave my life for in the mud suddenly being dragged and then before my eyes be destroyed, and I can kneel without tears and rebuild everything with my own tools and never think about taking up arms, but just to start a new life all over again. If I can risk all my winnings for others and lose all without ever complaining or taking myself for an apostle, and then start again without fear to become a martyr or an example. And if after all this I contemplate myself and start again while remaining humble and keep my ambition simple, then I would be able to look at my reflection and in the mirror see a man without regrets. Yeah, sorry for the reading. I stumbled a few times in this one. It was my first reading in English of that one.
Will you read it in French?
Yes.
Beautiful. You also, I think you have a reading of it on your own channel. Guys, I will later on provide the links below to Cordel's channel. By the way, if you will scroll further, there will be archived footage of Cordelh and I from Twitch. Yeah. Hanging out together, reading poetry and stuff. I'm totally blonde there. It's like footage from more than 2 years ago, almost 3 years ago when we were live streaming, remember?
Yes, so I do remember that. Good times.
Good times. Yeah.
Okay, so let's see. Si j'arrive à rester sain d'esprit, quand tous perdent la raison autour de moi, si je peux me faire confiance, incompris par toutes les personnes qui doutent de moi, mais je peux tenir en compte leurs doutes sans jamais partager mes propres peurs, et que je peux avancer malgré ma déroute, épuisé, affamé et en sueur, alors que d'autres fuient vers de fausses victoires, et que sans me plaindre, je choisis une route sombre, jamais prise, mais obligatoire, et que pourtant je ne montre aucun doute, Si je peux attendre sans perdre patience lorsque l'on me ment et que je le sais, et malgré tout garder ma prévoyance pour ceux qui me feraient un procès sans céder ou devenir menaçant. Si je dois faire face à la haine, mais arrive à ne pas faire couler de sang, et que même dans la peine, j'évite la haine. Si je peux rêver sans faire de mes rêves la seule raison de mon existence, et je peux penser sans avoir à sortir mon glaive, et sans perdre mes rêves, prendre de la distance de ceux qui me crucifieraient par différence. Si je peux faire face aux gloires ou aux défaites de la même façon, sans impertinence, et dans le calme garder mon intimité secrète. Si je peux entendre mes vérités, retourner en insultes et moqueries, et arrive à garder ma sincérité sans tomber dans l'ivrognerie. Si je peux voir tout ce que j'ai aimé et ce pourquoi j'ai donné ma vie dans la boue, être soudainement traîné et ensuite devant mes yeux être détruit, et que je peux me pencher sans larmes et tout reconstruire avec mes outils et ne jamais penser à prendre les armes, mais simplement à recommencer ma vie. Si je peux risquer tous mes gains pour d'autres et tout perdre sans jamais m'en plaindre ou me prendre pour un apôtre et recommencer à nouveau sans craindre de devenir un martyr ou un exemple. Et si après tout cela, je me contemple et recommence tout en restant humble et garde mes ambitions simples, alors je saurais regarder mon reflet dans le miroir, voir et dans le miroir, voir un homme sans regret.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was it. That was it. Pretty happy about this poem, actually. I think it might be a little long, but at the same time, can poetry be too long? I don't know. I really don't know.
There is no rules, actually, like not for me at least in poetry. Even Als Sprach Zarathustra by Nietzsche is considered to be a white poetry, even though it has no rhyme. Yeah.
It's true. That is a good point.
It's beautiful, kind of. Always feel like I'm missing out because I don't speak French. I understand some words and I was like, oh, I know that word, but I wish I could speak all the languages and to understand everyone. It would be so amazing.
Yeah. Totally.
I will read a poem. It's not that long. It's called In Paradise. I will read first the translation and then in Russian where I wrote it originally. Actually, I wrote it to sing it. Also from 2 years ago. I walk on the edge with one foot, I'm here. The other steps to paradise, where my friends are near. Although they're happy to see me, they don't want me to stay. Go, be alive, kiddo. Your pain will soon fly away. And even if time divides us and our path went other ways, we will walk with you here. We will keep the sadness at bay. I'm back and I sing again. My friends gave me a good advice. We walk together on the edge with one foot in paradise. Mm,
I love that poem.
yeah,
It's very beautiful, really deep, very humane.
thank you. Just my friends don't want me to stay in paradise. They would like, yeah, it's better we be back on Earth.
Yeah.
Okay, in Russian. В раю. Я хожу по краю. Одной ногой я здесь остаюсь, а другой я в раю. Гуляю с друзьями и песни пою. Хоть они мне и рады, то к себе не берут. Поживи еще, детка, твои боли пройдут. И пусть разделяет нас время, и пусть разделяет нас путь. Мы с тобой остаемся рядом, разделить твою грусть. Вот я здесь и снова живу, гуляю с друзьями и песни пою. Мы ходим вместе по краю, одной ногой оставаясь в раю. Yeah,
That was
such a
lovely.
happy poem.
Yeah, that was lovely, actually. No, I love it. I love it. Through this, oh, truth. Through this poetry is, yeah, it is something in all languages. I personally really like listening to poetry in different languages, you know, not just in the languages I understand. Because in the end, poetry goes beyond just the meaning of the words. The words have an impact, but the sound is also meaningful somehow. And it's true that when I write a poem, I do think about, first of all, the meaning of my words, but also how they sound within the sentence I write. I'm sure you do the same. I mean, we do that intuitively, you know, make the sentence more beautiful. Yeah. Well,
Philip Dust asked if it's okay by you if he joins at the end of the meeting when we will finish with poems. He will present his. Dust used to stream with me as well a little bit.
I think it's a great idea. And that will allow me to go grab a glass of water because I'm thirsty.
Philip, you're a professional poet. You wrote like more than 500 poems, maybe 600. I don't know, a lot. I actually really would like you to one day just to read that. Remember that book about Wolf Boy where his resting hand was fist? I really loved that one. It was so beautifully written.
It's not finished.
I know.
But yeah.
It's like how many pages, chapters are there already? It's a book, right? In poetry.
Yeah, it's a little book, but it's not finished. And I want to add a secondary character. I want to add a little girl. Like that there's a little boy and a little girl. But I haven't decided the subplot. So I'm stuck with the main plot, and I have to actually think about the subplots. Okay, I'll be right back. I'm gonna go grab a glass of water, and you deal with the guests.
Okay. So guys, I will send you the link now. I will post it in the. Okay, how do I do that? I will post it in the live stream. Let's see if who will join. And Philip, put down your thoughts on a paper, and that's it. Just just don't think, just put everything down on a paper and then move it around like as if it's a puzzle, you know. That would be my advice. I don't think, look, Cordelh is more classical poet, so for him everything is like that structure, but it's only applicable to him, so he only applies it to himself. Like other people can do, can have freedom in their poetry. So I remember I started by spending days to structure it and rhyme it, and it was not good enough still. But and the best poems when I don't think, I shut down my brain somehow and just like become kind of blank in a sense, and then I write. It feels like poetry comes through me somehow. Yeah, there is a lot. I have like about 200 poems in total that I wrote. Yeah, not all of them are published in any way, and like published, I mean read on YouTube on live streams, something like that. Okay, I see Matthew is joining, and we are waiting for, yeah, Matthew, are you there, dude?
No.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. You guys, like, yeah, we can hear you as a voice. Basically, Zoom shows your image when you share camera, but when you don't share camera, Zoom just shows me and whoever shows the camera and your voice, something like that. Oh yeah, hello.
Hello.
You decided to be in a forest. Let me see.
I figured a little bit more towards the mystique. Yeah, I wanted to review the. I know it's like a very popular poem because it's been popularized in, was it movies so many times as Der Panther, by Raina Maria Rilke. And I find it very deep, but I find it deep because of its meaning quite a bit. But let's see what sort of versions. I know the German version, but I think I'll try to read through the English version. His gaze against the sweeping of the bars has grown so weary it could hold no more. To them there seem to be 1,000 bars, and back behind those bars, no world. The soft, supple step and sturdy pace that is in the smallest of circles turns, moves like a dance of strength around a core, in which a mighty will is standing stunned. Only at times the pupil curtain slides up soundlessly. An image enters in. There goes through the tension, stillness of the limbs, and in the heart ceases to be. For me, it struck me as something that has so much wrapped up in it in terms of meaning, but it's obviously the things that he talks about, the way in which the panther is seemingly trapped and walking around and pivoting, kind of gives the emotion of what's going on, and what feels like is, I mean, I could get really philosophical about this, but I think the one interesting part is when he looks past the bars for a moment, and there's an image rushing in. It's like he remembers the instinctual part of being a panther and is ready to jump on it, and yet the reality of the bars that's in front of him makes all of that tension that goes through his eyes and his muscles, it dissolves.
Very nice. Very nice. You were reading Tiger?
Der Panther.
The Panther. Okay. Sorry. It's a good. It sounds really nice. Is that like from an original, or is that like something
It's
new?
Rainer Maria Rilke.
Okay.
And I'll try to read the one in German. I'm not sure you'll understand it, but it's sein Blick ist vorübergehend der Stiebe, so moe geworden, dass mich noch hat. Ihm ist aus des 1000 Stäbe gegeben, und hinter 1000 Stäben keine Welt. Der weggegangen, geschmeidig starker Schritte, der sich im einzelnen Kreise dreht. In einer Mitte, in der betaucht, if I'm writing, ist von einem Tanz Kraft eine Mitte, in der betaucht. Ein Groove wird erstarrt. Nummer schmaler schiebt der Vorhang der Pupille sich auswarf, das angeht. Eigene dann geht der Kleinen. Man, I'm just messing this up. Sorry. Thought I could read it because I remembered it in German quite a few times before, but it's been so long.
You've been in Germany, or yeah?
I haven't. No, me no. I got curious about learning German because I have a lot of roots in Germany from my family, and also it's just though technically Rainer was Bohemian, and he wrote the poem originally in French and converted it to German because he liked the way it sounded in German language.
Well, I personally thought that the German version that you read us was it did sound actually really interesting to the ear. Without understanding or at least not completely the meaning of it. I speak a little bit of Netherlands, but no, I do think it's really interesting. And also, personally, I think it's great that you thought about learning German, because German has a lot of poetry, literature, and philosophy. I mean, once you get German, you can like really enter deeply into those three subjects,
Yeah, it's a very strong but beautiful language.
Tara speaks German, don't you? I'm pretty sure
Yes,
you
I
do.
do.
Yeah.
I do. I
So
have certificates and stuff like proficient. Oberstufe. I was thinking about Nietzsche's poetry again. There was this poem called Der Wanderer. It's like in German. I actually was thinking if you perhaps have the footage when we analyzed poetry by Nietzsche.
me?
For that. Yeah, you remember with
Uh,
blocks.
yeah, not at hand. I must have
Another
it
hand.
somewhere, but not at hand. I'm sorry.
I
Not
think that
not.
was fun.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun with blogs and yeah, everybody with everybody.
So thus we are forming back poetry conversations. I'm so happy you came in. So do you write original poems?
Do I?
Yeah, your own.
Um, personally, I've delved into it, but oftentimes some of my poetry gets a little too dark. So I yeah.
Remember that time we read those German stories, horror stories for children. So
Yeah.
one time we made this stream about horror stories for children from I think it was a book from the 1890s.
Yeah.
So way back when actually children were seen as, less than nothing. And the stories are horrifying. I mean, if you read the stories, it's like actually you would traumatize any kid by just telling him that today. But, well, taken into a metaphorical sense with a step back, some objectivity and not so much subjectivity about the topics. I personally thought they were amazing. It is. You have to put the stuff into context and understand that it's not written for today's kids and all of that. But outside of that bias that we have towards those things, the texts were amazing. They were deep, profound, deeply scary, deeply disturbing, but still, amazing work.
Educational.
And I would argue, on top of that
Yeah.
As human being, as in our humanity, we need a little bit of scariness, not the dangerous scary part, but the telling each other stories. So we communicate the concept that sometimes things can go the hell out and it can exist. If we never tell each other those stories, then what's left? Teletubbies with unicorn and rainbows, and it doesn't make sense because the world is not like that. The world is more complex. So exploring darkness is not always bad. It's just that when you delve into it, you have to have, a hold into reality, so you don't go too deep into your own darkness without remembering that there is actually a bright side to life. Because, I don't think it is unique to you. My poems tend to be also very dark, and when you read into poetry, when you look it up a little bit, you find out that the motivation of most of the poems are rooted into a need to express something, and usually the message is some type of injustice, some type of something we desire so much but doesn't exist or can't be or whatever, or perhaps it's a cry of despair. Sometimes it's an ode to beauty, and but I would still argue that in those poems that are, making us go forward, there is always a hint of melancholy or fear or something like that. So personally, I think it's natural that there is a dark side to poetry. The one thing that I do believe is hard as a poet to surpass is the concept that most poets, when they start writing, they focus so much on the idea that they should share what they write and that it should be understood, that they forget that poems are not specifically meant to be understood, you know, and that actually the understanding comes from the reader. That they basically are a mental pleasantry, you know, like I would almost use the word joke, you know, in the sense that it's a mental exercise, you know, that's what it is. And yeah, so it's always good to take a step back and be humble about it. Be humble about it. Yeah.
For me, I tend to try to deconstruct too much. And the issue with it's like when I think about the 1,000 bars, I think of every last bar is kind of like a span of time in someone's life. And you see a bar, and you see another bar, and you see another bar. You're surrounded by them. And once in a while, you can glimpse through them sometimes.
I think there is this French author that wrote something like hell is other people, like something like that. And you know, your visualization of that thing, you know, like those bars reminded me a little bit of that. Because it is true that if it is liberating to be able to communicate and spend time with people, it is also you know, we tend to focus, to concentrate on the people that are in front of us, and when we do that, we forget the horizon, what's beyond, you know. And even sometimes we concentrate so much on people that we only figure their appearance, that we don't, you know, we don't think so much about what's behind the appearance, which I would argue is, you know, it's something to be surpassed. You know, it's humane, but we can just think about how to be better human beings, basically.
I was thinking about the role of dark poetry for children. Like, I can give you the example of the German poetry that we read, and there would be a cat and a girl, and the girl was like, "Oh, what's that shiny thing?" And she found matches, and the cat's like, "Don't play with matches." Mm-mm. And she's like, no, but it's so shiny and sparkly, whoosh. And then the girl burns to the ground and ashes drop. And the cat is sitting there and like, I warned her. And that's it, like the end of the story.
And then there is also another one in which there is this kid. He always looks up at the sky, and people keep telling him, be careful where you work. If you look too often to the sky, you'll never see where you work and for what's in front of you, you know. And then the kid falls into a river and is taken away, and that's it. And the kid is drowned in the river.
Yeah.
So, you know, the moralities of back into those days were very different. The message was also very different. And for those matches, you have to think, you know, 80s, 88, 90s, there is a fire in the village or the city, and it's really fuck up, you know. So they probably wanted to scare the hell out of kids just to make sure that they never played with matches and the candles.
But I was thinking about making children resilient, because I, as a child, loved horror stories. Like, since I was a baby kid, I was like, I don't know, I asked my parents to read me the scariest stories, and then I would go to sleep and let my brain process the horrors in the stories. So in the morning I wake up and I'm able to deal with the horrors. And so this is like a little injection of reality. And when I hear now kids being shielded from all the scary, I guess there will be generations of kids who cannot process darkness, and like if the darkness come, they go into into like depression and stuff. People don't shield your kids, like explain them the darkness. Like in that poem I read at the beginning about my mom, she taught me to love monsters, basically. Yeah,
You're right about that. I agree. I agree too. Kids being too shielded, not only does it not help to
So I'm a monster.
no, you're not.
You
Come on.
surround
I know
yourself
you're in
with
the
monsters.
forest. You're in the woods there. So I have to admit, you may be the big bad wolf in the woods. No, but to come back to the shielded stuff, like there is an argument for without them being hurt. Obviously, it's not a question of kids getting hurt, but of them surpassing their own fear. So in the future, they don't have to face their fear and then, be adults that would have 3 types of reaction, the flight, freeze, and fight. And to be honest, the best of them all, you have to adapt, but definitely the worst of them is to freeze every time you face something you can't deal with. And the best time to learn all of that is when you're a kid, because it's impactful. It's gonna impact all of your life. Actually, I read a study in psychology about that, in which they were explaining that the experiences that shape our personalities the most are the ones that we live as children by ourselves. Well, in the sense that we don't feel like there is an authority behind us giving us order or protecting us. Like the time you climbed that tree by yourself, you managed to reach the top, and you had to hide yourself from your parent to do it, that experience will shape the most your personality. But the time you would be, for example, in class with 25 other kids learning history, well, it fades into, that blur of the 20,000 times you went into class with the 25 other same kids. You just remember that there was 25 kids for a huge period of time, and you sort of remember, whatever content was in the class. But that tiny experience, like doing something that is not controlled, that you decided, that you surpassed, and you came back from it, that shapes you as an adult, and it can be anything. Obviously, I'm not saying people should get into a dangerous situation, and I'm not even saying that the feeling of being unsupervised is the same as being alone. Like parents can still keep an eye on their kids and protect them while they go into adventures. But
we do overprotect nowadays. That's crazy. Of course, the one thing is, I think, interesting is the most scary thing that they can come across is the iPad, and we put that right in front of them.
And I don't believe it's scary at all. At best, it's honestly, I'm actually scared of that phenomenon, because when I think about it, when I was a kid, and I used to have like this Game Boy or those little game pads we had back in those days, my parents, or even when I watched TV, my parents used to tell me, don't watch so close, don't look at TV that often, just 1 or 2 hours, and that's it. And when I was playing too long, they were like, go outside and play outside, like I'm taking that stuff out from your hand, and you have to go make friends outside or something like that. Nowadays, it's actually, I have this iPad, tablet. Here, kid, take that. Well, I'm gonna go do whatever I want, you know, play my video game, I don't know, whatever I want. And the truth is, we're making a generation of kids that will have spent about 10 hours a day for most of their childhood watching a screen in a position of, you know, what a child should be doing, which is climbing the freaking tree, jumping from the bridge into the river, swimming with the other kids, and I don't know, stealing gummies and having to run for it, and then getting caught and getting, you know, brought back to home by the village cop. I'm not talking about, like, you know, the the armored robocops of Nodrik, that kind of stuff, you know.
Like riding down a massive hill on a bike and
Yeah,
falling on your chin.
well, it can happen, you know, it's things that happen, but obviously, you know, if it's not like too much, it makes up for good stories, you know. Later on, you tell those stories and it's good stories. Even if you just tell them to yourself, you know, it's not a question of oversharing all of our stories. It's also a question of remembering what we did as kids and stuff like that. What are those kids are going to remember? Winning the game of I don't know what, you know, it's not
Beating
even,
the boss.
yeah, beating. They're not gonna remember that.
Oh man,
They're not gonna remember 100 hours of game into a game, because it enters in the same phenomenon of spending 100 hours in class in front of an authority figure, you know. It's the same type of stuff, except
Yeah.
it's simulated.
Well, there are games that we played that I remember. There was like a Halloween event in Red Dead Online where we were just the two of us shooting against hordes of zombies. It's amazing. I actually still remember those.
Yes.
Yeah. They're like those single events that do not blur and they come really for a short time. It's just like one hour a day. Like I kind of remember it as good times.
Yeah, but when you really think about it, for one of those events, we had to play hundreds of hours. You know, so it's simulations can be really good. I'm not saying the opposite, you know, but the thing is, they're still simulations, you know, because like recently I bought a chessboard and I was thinking to myself, it's so much more agreeable to play chess on a chessboard than actually play any video game on a screen, you know.
Yeah.
I would say that there was some video games, like, I mean, I'm not certain whether you guys experienced World of Warcraft. There would be like 40 idiots sitting around this giant loot pinata, and we were all trying to take it down, and it would kill us every time, and we would sit there and complain and bitch at each other all the time. And I don't know, something about that, it does have some sort of fun there. It's like though it's not as risky as the real world, you know. It's not as like raw as the real world can be, but it I don't know.
Well, I agree with you. There is great times in video games. But on the other hand, there is also I'm thinking about competitive LOL, you know, League of Legends. I've got some
Where you
friends.
get screamed at.
Exactly. Everybody knows that, you know. You start up that game with a bunch of really good players. They will scream at you full on because you don't know how to play. To me, that was one of the worst experiences ever, because I hate being screamed at. I tend to just ignore people that scream until I notice that they scream at me, and then I'm like, what the fuck? You know, like what does that mean? And it really felt like a simulation of either getting bullied or bullying, which actually made me think, perhaps we have created a generation that truly has been educated by the action of being bullied and bullying. Because it is true that back in the days, for example, if I went to school and there was a group of little bullies that hated me and would punch me at the end of the day, or this, guy that was 2 meters tall and could just bully anyone because he was so tall, well, at least it was just in school, it was one moment of the day. But with those new technologies that we have, we see people that spend their days at school with the bullied and go back at home and keep getting bullied. And if we're talking about adults, it may even be some adults get bullied from the moment they wake up. Basically, they take their phone, they swipe up, they see, oh, hate message because, I don't know, they did something, they doubt something, they said something. And if you really think about it, that type of power, the power of the mass, like 7 billion people, and I'm not saying 7 billion people are gonna bully you all at once, but let's say a number that's less than that. Let's say 7,000 people bully you all at once. 7,000 message is a fucking killer. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure it's the type of stuff that's, it takes people to the edge, even if they're completely sane and, like strong-willed. It's a dangerous world. And I'm really weirded out by the way kids grow up now, that, between that screen, that simulation, that's not even like so intense and that is as it should be, and then that communication part, which is not, I'm taking you upwards, like it's not, we are on equal level, we're climbing the tree, you're not managing to get that branch, I'm helping you up, or you fell from the tree, I'm with you, well, I'm gonna carry you down the hill to find some adult to take care of us. So, it's not that. And it's the opposite of that. It's literally like, go hurt yourself or something like that. And it's crazy, It's like, it's insane to think that an entire generation grows up with that. And personally, I'm not saying I'm, a traditionalist or religious person or anything like that. I try to avoid all of that. But I still do think that there is danger in, growing up with the activity of being brutally violent with ideas and words, and at the same time being totally naive about the reality of this world,
I think we're like, the one thing we're most naive about is like other people too. It's like, that's because our interactions are so, they're like the one side of a person that's obsessed with the winning of the game. You're just getting this idiot, this sort of dragon that you're looking at. It's not really a person. Whereas when you're dealing with people, they're more complex. They're more, that dragon that you're dealing with behind the screen, it might be a little wimp behind there. Just
yeah, it's an image.
little.
It's just an image, of course. Totally. It's I would even argue that probably most trolls are people that in real life would tend to be defenseless, and I'm not saying that as a bad thing or as a good thing. It's just, it doesn't require a lot of strength to throw a stone to somebody that's already on his knee, It's not the same act as going to throw a rock at a lion in the middle of the savannah and then having to deal with it.
Yeah. Don't piss off a lion.
No, don't go poke the bear. But you see my point. It's just the type of behavior tells a lot on who the person is, you know. If they're ready to actually beat the crap out of somebody that's weaker than them, well, it doesn't matter how. I mean, it says already something about them, you know. I would argue that violence is really a demonstration of weakness. In truth, you know, violence is a lack of self-control, which is my definition of weakness. You know, like you
Well,
could have the strongest, most violent person in the world, if they don't have self-control. For me, they're just dangerous. They're not, you know,
I
something that
think
I can respect.
I think there's a room for kind of just a little bit like a room for controlled violence, because I was into martial arts like Bruce Lee and so on. And I like when you're disciplined about it, and it's like Peterson talks about having your sword and having it sheathed, and knowing the limits, and knowing how to rough play, how to wrestle, there's an art to that too. There's also a beauty to the way you can move the body that just, you know, a fight can actually have a lot of beauty to it.
But wait, because you're talking about kung fu, I think, if I understood right, and if I remember well, in our martial art, at a certain level, you know, I'm not saying, you know, the beginner, your hands start to be considered weapons, no? And you're not anymore punished like if you had a brawl in a bar. You're actually punished like if you had a shotgun and you pointed close point to the guy and you killed him. Basically, it's the same type of punishment. So I'm pretty sure also that when you do martial art, people will advise you to never use that in, you know, in a situation of danger that we would encounter on a sort of yearly basis. Let's say, you know, once a year you get mugged, so you have to defend yourself. Well, don't kill the guy in front of you because he tried to take your wallet, basically, you know. Overkill, I mean. So
Yeah.
personally, my perspective of that type of martial art, you know, the less dirty fighting in the street type of martial art, it's almost like playing chess, you know. It doesn't really, I would even argue that if in training you slap the guy by mistake, he won't get insulted because you slapped him in the face by mistake. Or even if it wasn't by mistake, you know, if it was part of the training, suddenly he gets slapped, well, yeah, it's part of the game, you know. But that's a different, you know, approach to it. It's the conceptualization of it that's different. And in there, you're right. You're right. No, I would argue that almost every other type of violence is just, you know, it's just, yeah. Like, I'm even thinking about organized violence, you know, like when a nation organizes an army and then they tell young people to go kill other young people. Well, it is even more violent than if you do a dirty fighting in the street. Because it's dehumanizing a bunch of people. Then you send them into some, you know, place where nobody knows what the hell is going on. And then,
at that point, it's kind of lost on it's lost an art form and become an exercise of just full-blown disregard of the target, disregard of who they are, disregard of their humanity.
I would even argue disregard of your own humanity.
Mm-hmm.
Because to do the things that people do in war, you have to dehumanize not only the other people, but you have to dehumanize yourself. You cannot
Yeah.
see yourself as a human killing another human. You have to see yourself as a weapon killing the enemy, which is actually terrible. Personally, I find it terrible. I believe that even in a brawl on a bar where you hate the person in front of you, chances are that even if you were willing to kill him, which I doubt a lot of people that do dirty fighting in bars would have the will to do, or the desire to do that, it wouldn't come to that type of dehumanization. They would still see the person in front of them as a person. It wouldn't be just a thing that is a monster. Anyway, we're going very far away from
Yeah, I
poetry,
know.
and I'm not
I was
sure what you think
thinking
about
what to do about it. Like I would download maybe the video and make half of it just chatting and half of it poetry later on, I guess. Shani, hello.
it.
So
Welcome,
Hello.
Shane.
Shane,
Sorry.
Cordelh, Matthew. Matthew is also known by Dust to Dust. Guys, I'm happy you all met each other. So I guess that's our poetry crew now. Shane, do you have a poem?
Yeah, I can
And
read
you
a
don't
poem.
have to.
I can
Only
read
if
a
you
poem.
want to. Yeah,
Oh, come
Yeah,
on,
please.
read
yeah.
us a poem. I
Let
love
me
poetry here.
go with, I put one, can I read an original poem or?
Anything you like.
If you have something original, we love originals.
Oh,
So
okay. I don't think it's as good as, I don't know if you guys have heard, maybe I'll just read part
it's
of
not a
Jordan
competition.
Peterson's Waking Up, his song. Have you guys heard that song?
No.
It's okay. Okay. He wrote a song and but here I'll read this one. It's taking a minute to load up. How are you guys doing?
Very good.
Good.
One of us is in the forest. I'm in the 1800s. Carl is in a painting in probably some museum. So, it's a good diversity stuff.
Was there a poem associated with the conversation you guys were having?
If you want, you can read about Christmas. If you have something about
Anything.
Christmas, I mean,
I
we
actually
are missing a
remember.
Christmas poem.
I remember Shane read When the Man Comes Around, and I was really impressed by the reading. I did not expect. And Shane went, and Shane was like, okay, and let me read. And the man comes around, and then Shane goes like full on with diaphragm. I was like, wow, that's an excellent fucking reading.
Yeah,
So
please
Shane,
do.
if you want, you can read When the Man Comes Around. You read it excellently.
Okay.
Unless, anyway, I didn't mean to tell you what to read.
No, that's okay. Those are because obviously my poetry is not as good as Johnny Cash's or Jordan Peterson's, but so here, let's go. No, and that's just a matter of, like, Johnny Cash is an excellent songwriter. All right, let's go. Yeah, that'd actually be really good. Okay.
Cordelh,
I wanted to.
Yeah.
Oh, no, go ahead, Nosha.
So my painting is by EM. She's my painter friend. I did a video with her. She's so I put.
Do you guys do conversations where you talk about like her, like your ideas or her drawings or like that sort of stuff?
Yeah, we do it. Yeah, we do it privately because we are
Okay.
best friends, and she's
Yeah.
my she doesn't like to be on camera, so she came out once just because I was like really, really, really lost, and she's like, okay, let me help you out. Let comes out. If you feel super helpless, I am ready to do that for you, even though she doesn't want to be on camera.
Okay. Hey, do you mind if I read mine?
Totally, dude.
Okay.
Come on.
All right. So this one I wrote in, I believe, so I have it dated May 2016. All right. So, and I don't know, background, I was reading, I was feeling, I was just feeling, I think that was like the main thrust at the time. So it's called Stuck. Stuck. Something's happening. Lips, bodies, minds mobilizing. The background silence won't even give me a hint. What's going on implicitly in front of me? What's happening explicitly behind me? It's just pretend that you're all my enemies, that you're all enemies. I call my paranoia vigilant. I look close for danger. I look and then retreat my powers. I feel I must make a call. I feel I must judge a man. I want to look into your eyes, and discern just what you are. I want to bear witness to a deed and decide on how it makes me feel. I'm paralyzed, but I want to do things. I feel I'm bad before I've even got a clue. I think I'm all wrong before I even know what is right. I'm stuck. Stuck. Okay.
Wow.
Excellent, dude.
Dude,
That
it's
was
good.
I loved it. Yeah.
it comes from the heart. I love it. It's like humane. I love it.
Like sincere.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think like it's like when you write something and it fully has encapsulated like, I don't know, like an origin of something like in existence or in your life. I feel like I tried to do that, and it's hard to really like it's understandable that there's like some things there aren't much to say, because like if you've written correctly, you just kind of like it's in the words or whatever, and you sort of just like,
Yeah, I see what you mean.
yeah, you sort of, it gives you like, it's like, okay, move, like we can move on now, not in a bad way, like in a good way. It's like, oh, like there's a piece of reality, now let's go to the next thing.
I think there is some type of release, when you write about a topic that's in your mind. Sometimes,
Yeah.
there is definitely some type of release.
Mm.
I wouldn't argue that it's systematic, but probably the most impactful poems tend to be the ones that you felt the most when you wrote it, usually, I would say. At the same time, there are poems I wrote that I actually really don't like, and a lot of people loved it. And I was surprised. I was like, guys, I didn't put any work on that, and I didn't even like that poem. I was just angry, and I wrote that, and people loved it. So,
I do know it. Paranoid. Come
yeah,
on, pick it up. It's like, it's an excellent poem. It's the funniest, most witty poem. Like I heard and I was like, I hate it.
yeah. I actually don't like that poem at all. Let's see if I have it in hand, but. I thought it would be there. Well, it would take me a couple of seconds to find it, so we can talk about something.
It kind of reminds me of, was it Rachmaninoff, who played a particular piece, and every time somebody came to see him, he was like, "Hey, can you play that same piece?" Play the same piece. Play the same.
Oh my gosh, I have too many files. I need to make PDFs out of them and then make some type of book. Okay.
I think it's Johnny Depp. He played so many wonderful roles, and everybody, can you do the Jack Sparrow thing? So he's stuck with Jack Sparrow forever, even though it was not his favorite.
I mean, yeah, I really liked Edward Scissorhands, and
Me too.
when I was a kid, I watched like I like yeah, that was probably one of my favorite roles of his. Was Edward Scissorhands. The naivety about other people. That's like his claim to fame in that one.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the one movie that really, really brought them out of, you know, the indie movies. Well, he always did indie movies, but, you know, made
I
them.
liked Cry Baby that he did. Like he had a tear tattooed. It was a musical. He was a bad boy who liked a good girl. It was like, oh, there was a scene in jail where they all were dancing in like those blue costumes. I thought it was adorable. Yeah, but yeah, Edward Scissorhands is my favorite.
That's
You can't help
every
but go wrong.
relationship I've been in.
It's kind of like everybody in a sense. You can't go around but poking in the things.
So wise.
There is a man always on the lookout, always waiting for something to happen, fearing sleep and every kind of blackout, expecting any kind of mishappen. That man listens to all conversations, but never shares to anyone his thoughts. He'd rather be in total isolation. If not, he looks for signs prior to onslaught. Never to freeze, ready to fight or flight. Preferably to fight on his own terms. He's got either too much or no foresight, even ready to clean himself of germs. He doesn't look at his past or future, set for anything. He has no more pride. His flesh and mind are covered with sutures. He constantly waits for what would ignite anything close to his environment. Hopeless, he looks only to the present, which is the source of his torment, like an endless head-swallowing tail serpent. Fearless, he has only apprehension for any type of following actions. His constant prevention leads him to tensions. He feels like there's no comprehension. His options are always bad, and for that he covers himself in steel clad. That was it.
Was that you?
That was me. That was my poem. That was my guitar. That was purely me. No, actually, no inspiration from any other author, except the ones that I guess are so much into my subconscious that I don't even realize it. But I actually really don't like that poem because I think it's a poem that looks into my own anger, you know, and I'm a person that tends to not look at my own anger. I like to, I have fleeing personality in the sense that I would rather walk away from a bad situation than fight for a bad situation. So, you know, looking at my own demons and then thinking about them like they justifiable is not something that, you know, that I enjoy as a message. You know, I'd rather talk about how I fight my demons, for example. You know, I think that's an interesting thing. But encourage my own demons, that's another thing. Plus, I find that I'm so focused on my subconscious that I wonder how it is heard by other people, you know. Like I'm not even sure what I'm saying, you know, when I'm reading it, because I know it's tapping into my subconscious. So I'm not sure if other people know what I'm saying, because I don't even know what I'm saying, basically. And there I want to say we go back to the fact that really poems are jokes, you know. They're mental exercise that don't mean much except for the people that hear them and listen to them. But
Yeah, like I kind of do see a value in at least sometimes delving into the demons of our own thinking so that we know why they're there, what because we generally like to show people the best of us. We like to show why we should constantly feel better about circumstances. And of course, you can focus on the bad things too much to the point where you fall into them, yes. But if you come out learning about those demons, and if you come out sort of understanding something more about yourself with those demons, and in fact, if you can use those demons in ways that can empower your ability to be more operative and live, there's actually something to be gleaned.
I agree.
Yeah. Well, I use it just like it's usually something I feel like it's usually something at the top of my brain that I start using, but then I think your body can get more, your body can become, how do I put it, more powerful in the process of like going towards things that are useful for both others and yourself. And I think like that's one possible utilization of like, I don't know, the energies, or and I don't know necessarily that it takes a lot of like like if you have, yeah, when like if you have an I don't know, a mission that's hopefully good. I don't think there's a lot of like, sometimes there's not a lot of looking at the demons so much as just like, oh, like this seems like something worth doing. And yeah, maybe I think I'm hyperactive in that sense, where it's just like if I have something that I want to do, like, and most of them are ideas of stuff to do by myself, I'm like, I'm just gonna go do it, like, and then you know, writing about it or whatever, or sharing that experience, or but
Well,
yeah.
there is something that I wanted to say about what you say, Matthew. The thing is, what I can notice in my studies and what I read, my own experience, is when I'm alone by myself, and there is nobody, and I turn off my phone, and there is no communication to have outside of my own head. But I imagine that I'm a freaking neurotic, tend to have darker thoughts than when I'm in a group and I put that mask that you tell me, in which, I wear a mask and I look happy, smiley, entertaining and all of that. Well, I do wonder if there is not a psychological effect on that, because we are social creatures, we know that. And I wonder if actually when we are with people remind us what it is to do good and be good and stuff like that, So yeah, there is something about the masks that you were telling, but there is also something about actually taking off that veil that we wear when we are by ourselves, that makes us see the world in, black and white or dark or I don't know what, And somehow I personally think that there is a lot of qualities, into that exchange, I want to say, instead of wearing glasses that makes me see the world in a certain way because I'm too concentrated into my own head, suddenly I'm wearing a mask because everybody knows that being a good person, smiley, that helps others and things like that is good. And personally, the way I take it is just that I forget. When I'm by myself, I forget that I need to be good not only with the rest of the world, but with myself also,
You forget the group. That is true. Like,
Yeah.
unless, and I think it's more emphasized with like,
You okay?
no, that experience is, yeah, um, yeah,
You think about
you,
it.
you got the thought. Yeah, for sure.
It's okay. I gotta admit, I spend a lot of time thinking about this type of stuff, defining who we are and all that. It's important. I've got an interesting poem here about demons, actually. It's called My Own Demon. If you want, I could read it to you.
Sure.
Let's see. How did 1 second ago? There you go. So, my own demon. Just as the second passes, my heart pounds. I feel some kind of demon ripping through my ribcage that is its jail, making sounds of running steps like the devil's pursuer. I know I should run or fight, but I freeze. How could I ever face my own demons? When my heart, my regrets, I can't appease. He makes me feel like I'm in its dark prison. Sometimes it roars of hatred and anger. Sometimes it's waiting for the right moment. Then, with echoing sonorous clangor, it slashes me with vindictive torment. It makes me feel like it is my jailer, when really it is locked in my prison. To this demon, I am its prisoner, even though this truth is beyond reason. Each pounding's louder than the precedent, each beating faster than the one before, to the point of turning me irrelevant. Even as I beg for calm, I am ignored. It's like it's waiting for my time to come. My heart is pouring blood through my thick veins. I'm overwhelmed by what I have become. No memories of my past self remains. I haven't transformed into my demon. Instead of this, I'm its favorite victim. I'm waiting for its terrible treason as I remain a bolt of this system. Yeah.
Remember that poem. It's really good.
Yeah, that one is one of the ones I particularly like. You know, the inner fight with your own demons.
Yeah, I like that one.
Sounds like you were like in a like in like a big chair with like a woman sitting at your feet, just like in like with a like, oh, this is my
I need the cigar. I need the cigar. And
Shut out Bill
bowling hat.
Clinton.
That's funny. That's funny.
No, I think it's about him turning into a Hulk. I was like, when I see my demon, and then he's like turning into a Hulk with like that vein at the side, like anger vein. I was like, I am my own demon, but I'm at like that helplessness. It's an excellent point. Yeah, Shane, interesting.
Yes, it kind of reminds me of the was it you have your demon who's a captive, and yet they're kind of like who's got who in whose clutches.
Who's got the key and where's the exit?
Okay, guys, I have a challenge from Philip, who had been watching us for 2 hours now. Thank you, Philip. Like, I really appreciate it. And the challenge would be to write a poem, not now, for the next reading, about hands.
Hands?
Yes, hands.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah. Me and I don't know, maybe I'm like, so like the okay, how do I put this? Do you think in our like moral judgments of things, like you know, do you think in some sense, since we're all like, are we all an invisible hand in a network of invisible hands, just like pushing like each other? Like, is that, I don't know,
like metaphorically speaking.
Yeah. Yeah. Like yeah.
To be honest, yeah, I do believe that everybody's connected, you know. I mean, this is a message that's being passed on through all the philosophies and theologies that I've read about. You know, like even religious books, they tend to express that concept that everything is connected and that there is no one self-made man that lives in an island all by himself and, you know, constructed civilization all by himself. I mean, there are people that nowadays still venerate the crowns, the noble people or certain individuals of society, you know. But ultimately, I do believe that it is important to be empowered on your own, you know, not feel like your hand is tinier than somebody else's hands, and that really it is a play in which, you know, you can just put your hands together and perhaps dance instead of, you know, having to push constantly against 10,000 hands against you, or you against the giant hand of I don't know what.
I think when I actually have a concept for myself, but it might be shaped. So I was thinking I perhaps will write about this ocean of people, ocean of hands reaching out to the sky, and there is like on a suspended in the air, but slightly above their hands would be this one raft, which is shaky. And I would climb myself into a raft, and then people were still reaching out. I was like, whom can I save? But there is so many people. And then I would be like, I will try to get more people into my raft, and then the raft falls, and then all the hands will start building the raft again somehow. So maybe that. It's just like that visualization of raft and hands and trying to help and then making the raft break. Just all like very symbolic. Like there is so much symbolism in poetry. Ocean of hands.
Hey,
Versus,
can I read a
versus
poem?
not all. Yeah.
Okay. It's the okay. There it is. Okay. I'll only read part of it because it's, you guys know this one. All right. Now, when I think I read this in 2015, when I was, well, I was going through some stuff, but okay. So this is Ode Intimations of Immortality from Recollections of Early Childhood by William Wordsworth. So maybe we'll just read like the first maybe 3 stanzas. The child is the father of the man, and I could wish my days to be bound each to each by natural piety. Wordsworth, my heart leaps up. Okay, so they're starting the poem with that one. There was a time when meadow, grove, and stream, the earth, and every common sight, to me did seem apparelled in celestial light. The glory and freshness of a dream. It is not now as it hath been of yore. Turn wherever so I may, by day or night or day or night. The things which I have seen, I now can see no more. The rainbow comes and goes, and lovely is the rose, the moon doth with delight look round her when the heavens are bare, waters on a starry night are beautiful and fair, the sunshine is glorious birth, but yet I know, where'er I go, that there hath passed away the glory from the earth. Now, while the bird sings thus a joyous song, and while the young lambs bound, and to the tabor's sound, to me alone there came a thought of grief. A timely utterance gave that thought relief, and again I am strong, and I again am strong. The cataracts blow their trumpets from the steep, no more shall grief of mine the season's wrong. I hear the echoes through the mountains throng, the winds come to me from the fields of sleep, and all the earth is gay. Land and sea give themselves up to jollity, and with the heart of May doth every beast keep holiday. Thou child of joy, shout round me, let me hear thy shouts, thou happy shepherd boy. Ye blessed creatures. Maybe I'll stop there.
Guys, I have to close the meeting, but we have one last, so there are 2 challenges posted by the viewers, one from Sigma, which is Wonderment, and one as well from and one from
You have
Philip.
to make a listing, I think.
Yes, I will. I will post it in the comments later after we'll come around to editing. And yeah, so thank you so much for joining.
The hand one, because I already said the idea.
Okay. I mean, you can, it doesn't have to, like, you don't have to think there, just feel what comes to you, like what ideas. And anyway, thank you so much. Thank you to everybody who was watching, Matthew, Shane, Cordelh, and all the people. Thank you.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
And keep the poetry inside.